5 days after predicting his own death in a music video, a rising rapper is hanging out the back seat of a Kia Rio, suffering from a gunshot wound to his heart. As his girlfriend screams for help, a trail of blood is leading away from the vehicle, but only one body is on the scene. This is when homicide detectives start to rely on YouTube and gang member statements to piece together an internal beef inside of a gun trafficking ring underneath the leadership of the Mexican Mafia. Rap News Street Politics, the best hood channel on YouTube, with the backdoor murder of 25-year-old German Brambila, also known as Suckerfree or Dumper, from Westside Lennox 13. Now, Suckerfree has amassed millions of views through his music on YouTube, but like many other rappers coming out the streets of LA, Suckerfree ends up dead in a shootout where his killer told him that he had this coming for a long time. And Suckerfree was seemingly prepared for this moment after releasing a music video called Si Me Matan a Balazos, If They Kill Me with Bullets. With this song coming out less than a week before he would end up dead in his own hood, he states that he's not afraid of death, and he spoke about how the devil was looking for him. But in this video, he's also seen with an individual that would drive him to his death. Sleeper from Anaheim, Lennox 13. Now we have to start on Saturday, March 8th, 2025, in the Lennox 13 neighborhood off Inglewood Avenue and Lennox Boulevard. Suckerfree arrives in a parking lot of Hollywood Nails, across the street from Las Iguanas Bar, a well-known Lennox 13 hangout. He's riding with his girlfriend and another member of Lennox, followed by Sleeper, who's in a white Kia Rio. Sleeper goes on to park the Kia, and an unnamed driver drops off Suckerfree and his girlfriend, leaving them in front of Hollywood Nails. Now they begin to drink, and Suckerfree jumps off his night with a string of hit-ups throughout the Lennox neighborhood. He's gone down many blocks, down Inglewood Avenue and Lennox Avenue, striking him and Sleeper's names, along with other members of Lennox. As Suckerfree and Sleeper get back to the Hollywood Nails parking lot, a group of members of Lennox are outside of the Las Iguanas bar. Everybody's giving a pat down to make sure no guns are entering the bar. And around 1:30 in the morning, Sleeper, Suckerfree, and his girlfriend make their way to Las Iguanas bar. Now, once inside, everything seems cool. Everybody's having a good time, and Lennox 13 is extremely deep inside of Las Iguanas. But everything's not what it seems when it comes to Suckerfree and Sleeper being on this side of town. Even though they're both from Lennox, Suckerfree and Sleeper are living in Arizona. Due to the gun laws in Arizona, it's extremely easy to bring some artillery back to the city of LA and distribute it to multiple neighborhoods in the city. Suckerfree and Sleeper have been trafficking guns to their homies in Lennox and Anaheim to make a couple extra bucks and make sure their homies are equipped to go to war. It's the early morning hours of March 9th, but Sleeper drove Suckerfree and his girl from Arizona back on Friday, March 7th, and they've been staying in the hotel due to Suckerfree's grandmother having a plug on the hotels, and they've been serving guns through their neighborhood. Now, Sleeper is the driver because Suckerfree has a suspended license, and the Kia Rio is registered into his name. And when they arrived at Hollywood Nails, Sleeper was the tail car driving solo because he had the product in his trunk. He's from Anaheim, Lennox, so police in this area may not recognize him, which grants him a safe passage to move guns and ammunition. So as the true purpose of the Arizona crew being revealed in the bar, everybody from Lennox decides to head out to a smoking area on the side of Las Iguanas, and more personal conversations are had. Amongst everybody is an older homie, 44-year-old Miguel Ortiz, who also goes by Drifter or Lil Gremlin from Lennox 13. He's also seen enjoying himself. He's had multiple conversations with Suckerfree. Everything seems to be relaxed. Him and Suckerfree have also went outside, checked out the white Kia, and have went back into the bar. But shortly after 4 a.m., after hours of drinking, an argument breaks out between Drifter and Suckerfree. Now everybody's taking notice, but they're somewhat off to the cut by themselves, and they don't really know exactly what's being said. But this is when they see Suckerfree punch Drifter in the face, and they begin to fight. Now, what seems to be two separate crews of Lennox inside this bar. Suckerfree and his Arizona crew, along with a couple other homies, and Drifter, and everybody from Lennox that he came with. In the middle of the fight, Suckerfree's girlfriend stands up and tries to break him up. When a member of Drifter's crew stands up and tells her to back up, let them fight. After it seems like Suckerfree gets the best of Drifter, they end up being separated. And this is when Suckerfree and his Arizona crew head out the bar. But shortly after, Drifter is seen walking through the bar and making a hand motion, telling other members of Lennox to follow him outside. The Arizona crew and one other unnamed member of Lennox has made it to the Kia Rio, but they're being closely followed by Drifter and his crew. And details begin to emerge with the surveillance footage. The Kia Rio is just out of view, but Drifter is seen tossing a beer bottle and pulling a pistol out of his pants. As he cocks the pistol, other members behind him, who are again also from Lennox, seem to be excited. There's somebody behind Drifter jumping up and down in a white shirt, fully aware that Drifter has pulled his gun out. Now Sleeper begins to put the Kia in reverse, and this is when he looked over and saw Drifter walking up extremely aggressive, and he hears Drifter say, "Where's Dumps?" And Suckerfree replies, "I'm right here." Drifter then tells him, "You've had this coming for a while," before firing multiple shots from a 9mm pistol. But unbeknownst to Drifter, Suckerfree was holding a .380, and he begins to shoot back. Now he hits Drifter multiple times, and Suckerfree is only hit once. But after being hit, Drifter's heard saying, "You got me, you got me. Fuck these fools," before running off. And this is when LAPD receives a 911 call from the Las Iguanas bar. Now officers arrive on this scene shortly after 4 in the morning, and they find Suckerfree hanging out the back seat of the Kia Rio, his legs still inside, but everything above his waist is laying on the ground. And the only person visibly with him after everybody from Lennox has scattered is his girlfriend. Police move his girlfriend out the way and completely drag him out of the Kia. They notice blood on his chest and on his torso and begin administering CPR and the bag valve mask for oxygen. Suckerfree has sustained one gunshot wound to his upper torso. The bullet is pierced through his lungs and has penetrated his heart. There's an exit wound present on the right side of his back. And at 4:30 in the morning, off Lennox and Inglewood Avenue, in the middle of his hood, 25-year-old German Brambila, Suckerfree 104, is pronounced dead on the scene. Scattered around his body, police find 5 .380 shell casings, along with the .380 pistol sitting in the back seat where his legs were. They also find 2 9mm shell casings, 5 illegible shell casings, 1 blank .22 caliber cartridge. And this is when police pop the trunk to the Kia Rio. They find a Glock micro conversion kit, holsters, a utility bag with a tourniquet, shotgun shells, 5.56 and 5.7 bullets, all items bought from Arizona to Lennox 13. Now, since the Kia Rio is registered to Sleeper, he makes his way back to the scene, and police immediately set Sleeper and Suckerfree's girlfriend to the side and do a gunshot residue kit on their hands. But in between the liquor bottles and red cups in the parking lot, investigators locate large pools of blood with tracks far away from where Suckerfree was shot. And this is when they start looking for surveillance footage. They've got in contact with multiple owners of different cameras in the area, but none of those cameras were working at the time. This is when detectives go straight to Las Iguanas. And with this being a Lennox 13 bar, the owner of Las Iguanas is uncooperative. And this is when investigators immediately get a search warrant and secure the hard drive on Las Iguanas DVR. This is when they get their first glimpse of Suckerfree's suspected killer, but all the pieces haven't added up yet. They see the fight inside the bar. They see this individual following Suckerfree out of the bar. And there's multiple different angles of people running when the shots go off. Now, since the trail of blood somewhat stops before the exit of the parking lot, they come to the conclusion that their suspect was given a ride out of here by other Lennox 13 members. And this is when they take Sleeper and Suckerfree's girlfriend back to South LA Sheriff's Station to piece together this situation. At 9:35 in the morning, 5 hours after Suckerfree is pronounced dead, Suckerfree's girlfriend recounts the events to detectives, and she also makes it clear that other members from Lennox stepped in when she was trying to break it up and told her to back up, let it go down. She says she's unaware why the fight started, and she didn't know the real name of the person that was responsible for this, but she knows they call him Drifter. Due to them making this run to Arizona multiple times, she's met Drifter before, and police stick a photo lineup in front of her face. This is when they get their first official lead on Miguel Ortiz. coming out of Lennox 13. Now, a few hours after her, it was Sleeper's turn. Sleeper is the one that heard everything Drifter said to Suckerfree before taking his life. And even though he's a member of Anaheim Lennox, he told the police everything. But he also said Suckerfree and Drifter were cool throughout the night. He doesn't know where it went left. And he told the police that he didn't know Suckerfree had the 380. He said that the 380 belongs to his girlfriend and that he didn't know Suckerfree grabbed it out of the glove box. But the 380 came back as stolen when police ran it. Now detectives begin to press Sleeper. He said that he only knows this individual by the name of D. But before they let him out that room, he cracked and told the police Drifter is the one that killed Suckerfree. Now, after detectives have accumulated all this information, it's now March 10th, 2025, 24 hours after the murder, and police are scrolling through YouTube. They come across the Renegade Media channel, and there's a video titled How Spy from Lennox Right-Hand Man Tried to Tax the Lennox Rapper. Now, they noted the appearance of the host of Renegade Media, and they took notes on what was said, and everything seemingly matched up to their investigation at that point. Suckerfree coming from Arizona, being involved in gun trafficking. A member from Lennox named Drifter, involved in a physical altercation with Suckerfree. But what caught their attention is that it was said that Drifter is a close affiliate of a member named Spy from the Mexican Mafia. This is when detectives get their first glimpse at a potential taxation administered by Drifter for the benefit of Spy, who was sitting in prison. They notate that the host was aware that Drifter was also shot. And this is when they begin their search for Drifter in the hospital. Now, they've called over a dozen hospitals and they can't find him. But at the same time, they've got search warrants for Sleeper, Drifter, and Suckerfree's Instagram accounts. And on March 12, 2025, they've also submitted a preservation request for Renegade Media's YouTube video to corroborate the facts of the investigation. And later that day on March 12th, they find Drifter in California hospital. But this is when the hospital hit him with a policy, a California state policy. No contact is to be made by law enforcement to any gunshot victims receiving treatment. So detectives leave and write an official request stating that Drifter is a homicide suspect. And for everybody's safety, they press the hospital to make sure they contact investigators before letting Drifter walk. And on March 20th, 2025, Drifter is released from the hospital and arrested on first-degree murder charges. Now, Drifter already had an extensive rap sheet, previous convictions for drugs, guns, assault, robbery, kidnapping, and carjacking. And with being pointed out by multiple witnesses, Drifter's facing an uphill battle. Now, detectives haven't formally came out and said that Drifter was acting at the command of Spy. Those are just allegations, but this is seemingly the same story that we see when it comes to Southside artists in the city of LA. And like many other Southside hoods throughout the city, Lennox is very familiar with the taxation game. In 2010, they had these same issues, and they were hit with a federal indictment where 15 of their members went down on the RICO. And they also aren't new to internal beef, with Lennox being a large active hood in this section, having numbers similar to hoods like Inglewood Family and Inglewood 13, their main enemy. They undergo a lot of scrutiny, and not too long before Suckerfree was murdered, his little homie J10-4 was seen on camera having a controversial situation when he was seen beating the shit out of a female during a conflict. And after his murder, other things started to come out the Lennox neighborhood, specifically around Suckerfree having some racist music. But nonetheless, this was a major blow in the Lennox neighborhood. This the best hood channel on YouTube, Rap News Street Politics. Make sure y'all stay tuned for the next one.